All right, we are recording now. It is Tuesday, April 30th, and I want to share my screen. And thank you for coming and being flexible with my late start office hours. So can you guys see my,
Yeah, we can see it.
I don't always spell right. Okay. So financials, so let's take a quick look at the calendar. And it's over here. Oh, it's going to make me do all this sign on. So much fun. All right. All right, so your calendar, I just want to make sure that you are all on the same page and on the schedule. So I know some of you have already done this, but your focus this week just really needs to be on preparing for the exam. And you all, or most of you have posted your practice exam, so that's great. And then here we are, practice exam, your quiz last night. And then just so you know, tonight I want you to do the account ID short quiz. And that's a pretty easy quiz. Has anybody done it yet? Say yes or no in the chat. Yes, yes. Ava, yes. Ella, no. Ariana, not yet. Vanessa, not yet. Questions are pretty straightforward. For example, it's 20 questions, multiple choice. And the question is, if it's cash, is its normal balance debit or credit? And is it on the income statement or the balance sheet? Okay. And then you just pick one. So for cash, you would select balance sheet, debit. And it's just like flashcards to get you to remember normal balance and what statement things go on. Okay. The practice homework is required. It's very low points, but it's to encourage you to get more practice in and feedback. All of those lock tonight at midnight. Tomorrow you come to campus, unless you've made other arrangements with me. You come to campus at 2:30 to C208. You may have to pay for parking. You will have to pay for parking. It's like $2 unless you already have other classes and you already have a parking pass, or you take the bus. Okay. And then here, your project one team project plan is due. So reach out to your teams and set up a meeting if you haven't already done it. The project plan, I want to go over that as well. So then we turn around next week and I will probably have your exams graded by Monday. So at 11 a.m. on Monday and at 2:30, you can come in for your 5-minute conference. And I'll just go over your grades. And I don't mean physically come in, I mean come in on Zoom. And I'll share your grade and talk through maybe some areas for where you made errors, if you made any errors. So that's worth a couple points. And then office hours again on Tuesday, and office hours always Monday at 2:30, Tuesday at 2:30, and Wednesday at 11 a.m. So next week will be a lot of conferences, one-on-one conferences. And then we do have another extra credit opportunity. It's careers in business in the healthcare field. So it'll be in D106, and that's worth extra credit as well. They are not allowing us to stream it or videotape it. So it's just a one-off. And yeah, so that is, oops, I made the mistake of getting off the calendar. D106. All right, so that's April. And then we have that healthcare careers. And if any of you are accounting majors, please register for the job shadow. If you're on the fence and just want more information, it's okay too. It's a great experience in downtown Bellevue in a skyscraper in a beautiful, beautiful office. and you get exposure. They'll talk about accounting, IT, human resources. So they talk about different areas at the company. All right, and let's see. And then here, a week later, I want everyone individually to upload where they are in the project. So you're going to make a plan, assign work to everybody, and then every single person on the project shows me their work in process, uploads it. Okay, so let's go back over here, and I want to bring up that, I want to bring up the project. Any questions, any other areas you guys want to go over? Usually you guys always want to go over the essay question. So anything else?
I have a quick question regarding the field trip on the 10th or
Mhm.
that gathering. Is it gonna be like high stress, like a lot of homework and like, or can we just show up and be there and be engaged?
That's it. It's you will not, when we use the term job shadow, but in fact, you're going to be in a room with your classmates and other classmates from other classes, and they're going to do a series of presentations. We're starting a little bit late this year. We usually start at 9, but they'll probably have coffee and snacks when you arrive. You'll sit down and they'll make some presentations, and then they give you office tour. They bring a series of people in for presentations, and they give you office tours. They give you guys lunch. Most students come away really enjoying the experience, and they also have job opportunities, a few for students who haven't graduated yet. So it's just a real good way to find out how you can pursue a career or a field of study in accounting. But I would not call it high stress. We do ask that people kind of dress up a little bit. It doesn't have to be super fancy, but just a little nicer, slacks and a blazer, something like that. But there's no prep. So it's not like you're following somebody around and they're giving you assignments. It's just maybe more presentations and lots of question and answer. They love it when you guys have questions. So um, have questions ready or think of things to ask. So yeah.
Okay, perfect. Are you gonna be there or no?
Yes, I'm going to be there. So if you have to register, Ella, so make sure you sign up, and then they'll send you more information next week when they're closer to the event, how to park and all that. So, but it's right next to the Bellevue Transit Station. So those of you that use buses, it's pretty handy. Yeah, Sheila will be there too. Let's see. Okay. Any other questions about the exam or anything else?
I have a question, the shadowing thing. Is it okay if we arrive a little bit late? Because I have a class that's till like 9:50 and it starts at 10, the job shadow.
Arena, it actually starts at 10:30.
Okay, so
So
then
you
that
should be fine. I would try not to be late. They don't like it when students come late. So
okay.
if you need
I
to
thought it
leave,
was at 10, but 10:30 should work perfectly
yeah.
fine.
So this is advice I wish I had given my younger self. Okay. So once you know where the place is, it might be worth your while to just drive by it the day before and know that, okay, there it is. There's the parking garage. I know how to get in, or do a live Google map so you're really comfortable with getting in. It's not hard, but it's downtown Bellevue, and if you miss your driveway, you can be going around blocks a couple times. So that's my advice. I showed up late for a job interview once, did not get the job. So I always tell students that. So, but I think you'll have plenty of time if you don't delay coming out of class. All right, what else? All right, so the contract, I just want to go over that really quickly. Let's go look at the contract. So what you want to do here, this is this project is a PowerPoint with speaking notes. It is not a paper, okay? So and I give you the template, Ava. It's like international business where I give you the template ahead of time. You're comparing two companies. Yes, you can borrow calculators from me. I have a stack. You're comparing two companies like Coke and Pepsi. And this template is really dull. It's just telling you what should be on each slide. I want to see artwork on here. I want to see logos of both companies, pictures of products of both companies. And then here's all the instructions of the project. Delete this slide, delete all my instructions and make it your PowerPoint. You're going to be building a PowerPoint with research about the company that does not include financial information, okay? All team members must present. Do not go over 15 minutes and do not speed up your video time. You really have to, so shoot for 12 to 15 minutes. So that means everybody speaks about 2 minutes. Introduce yourself, introduce the next speaker. And it's fine to record it on Zoom or something. And I ask that you don't upload the video. I ask that you mount the video on YouTube, make it private with a link, and you just put the link in this PowerPoint. So going back to page 1, insert YouTube link here. Okay. All right. Business, what kind of brands each business has. There's questions about customer profile, company strengths, risk factors, growth opportunities. All that information comes from the annual report, which in the Word instructions of the project, I give you instructions on how to find that. 5 years of stock value for each company 1, discuss the stock trends. 5 years of stock value company 2, discuss the stock trends, something called governance scores. And you do a little graph comparing the two companies. And then you go to our library. We have a wonderful research guide that you can click on in the instructions, and they have a lot of business sources that you can look at to get company information that is not coming from the company. That's why we call it external. And each company needs 6 resources. And then you just summarize the outside sources. And then you say, does the outside source, are they consistent with what the company says about itself? Is this business model sustainable economically, environmentally? You do the same for company 2, and then you decide which company is better and why. Okay. And you add your bibliography. Okay. So let's see. So for detailed instructions, you can read this. And it'll go step by step. So what are you turning in next Friday? You're not turning in a PowerPoint next Friday. So this is an overview of your project. Pick your team, make a contract. And then a week later, upload your work in process, and then finish the project, and then critique another team. Okay. So you're going to list your team members and their contact information, and then you're going to answer these questions. When are you meeting? And you're going to have to set up a weekly meeting, maybe even twice a week. Might only be for 15 minutes, but make sure everybody can come. And of course, most of these meetings are going to happen online, but you can meet in person. And how will you be meeting? List all your meetings. We are meeting, May 3rd at 7 p.m. on Zoom. Here's the link. Put everything in here that anyone on your team would need. Only 1 contract per team. And then you divide up the paper. So here we go. So these 2 pages are what you're submitting. So here's not paper, the PowerPoint. So who's doing research and making notes for the PowerPoint? Who's researching 5 years of stock value, governance score? So that's a summary, okay? But you don't know what those things are. So for more detail, I only need those 2 pages for this contract. But for more details, what is number 1 on the contract? Companies discuss their business in the annual report. Go get the annual report, open it up, and look under these topics, and you'll find the answers to these 5 questions. And that'll be your first 5 PowerPoint slides. Here's how you find the stock value. This is what governance score is all about and how you find it. And then this is the questions you're going to answer when you do the outside sources. What company is best? Here's your PowerPoint, and you upload it to Canvas. Okay. So I wanted to be pretty summary here, but for next Friday, you're gonna give me this page with the answers to these questions and this page, assigning the work. Now the deadline for the work needs to be early so that the checker or auditor can have a chance to look at it. Because the project itself is due, let's see. The project itself is going to be due May 16th. Okay. So the project is due May 16th. So all of these deadlines have to be earlier than May 16th. So people have a chance to check the work and make corrections. And then you guys got to get together on the 14th of May, 15th of May, somewhere there, and make your video. Okay. And then you upload it all. Okay. So that's due this Friday night. Between now and Wednesday at 2:30 tomorrow, I want you to really focus on the exam. So maybe just somebody send an email out to all your teams and let them know that you guys need to have a meeting this week, but probably Thursday or Friday. All right. So tomorrow, come to campus. I have extra calculators. Yes, it is okay to have more than one auditor. That's a good idea. There aren't any financial data that's going into this presentation. That'll be project 2. This presentation is all about what is the company, what is their purpose, how are they helping customers, what problem are they trying to solve for their customers? You know, basically, why do they exist? Okay. All right, what else? Let's see. Do you have any particular questions on the practice exam? And you guys all were able to find the solutions, correct? Solutions should be accessible now, and number 8 on the practice exam. Ava, are you there? You had a question on the homework, didn't you?
Yes, but it totally makes sense now.
Oh, was that what it was, the averaging?
Yeah, I just didn't understand that part.
Perfect. Okay, great. All right. Okay, question 8. Oh, we'll get to those. That's a good one. Divine, you're asking where the solution is? It is if you go to Canvas and you go to units and modules. You guys can see my Canvas, right? Yes, okay, thank you, Yelena. So we're here in chapter 3, and you can see the color. That means this is unit 1, purple is unit 2, and black is unit 3. So if you go into unit 3, you'll see practice exam. So you click on that. Here's the practice exam, and here's the solutions, and you should be able to find it. Okay. All right. You can also look under files. And I think you can see this practice exam. And then you see practice exam for chapter 1, 2, or 3, practice exam solutions. Okay. And then here's a map of how to get to the college. It's also under the exam link. And this is just showing you C208 is here. Right here, if you've been to campus, there's a fountain. And you can drive in this way and park back. I think you can park around here, but if you can't, you know where to park over here. And then just walk over here. And here's the cafeteria right here. We are on the 2nd floor. Okay. All right. Okay, we'll get to that one. Those are good questions. Do you guys want to go over the essay? That's my question to you. Yes, no? No essay? You're good? Trey, yes. Okay, essay it is. All right. Ava says yes. Trey says yes. Divine says yes. All right. So this essay, so what you're looking at, what are we looking at here? What is this thing? Sorry, I'm jumping around. Tell me the name of this statement in the chat. Direct message. Yay, you guys are right. Ariana, Ava. Ava, 2 words, but Vanessa, yes. Yelena. Yay, Trey. All right. It's an income statement. It tells you that. But if you didn't know, if I didn't label it, you would know because we have sales at the top, sometimes called revenue, and net income at the bottom. That's what the income statement looks like. All right. I didn't give you a balance sheet. I gave you an income statement. And then I highlighted total sales and net income. All right. So what we need to do here, and I want you to, I'm going to put it in the chat. So the question you're going to answer, let's see if I have, put this up. The question you're going to answer, the question you're always going to answer, all right, is if you have 3 years of data about a company, we always start with sales. Are sales going up? Are sales going down? Are sales staying flat? Not growing, but not getting worse? Or are they inconsistent? And the way we describe it is the trend is favorable, unfavorable, or neutral. Okay. So let's bring this up real quick. I just want to have this at the ready. So I want you to write in the chat if this trend is favorable. Let's go back to the data. So in the chat, let's start with sales. In the chat, direct message me. Is the sales trend favorable, unfavorable, or neutral? Just stick it in direct message. All right. So you're all telling me that those who've answered have said, I like the abbreviation. 1, 2, 3. You've said it's favorable. And so you have just answered the first question. What is the trend? The trend is favorable. Okay, so you're in the elevator and I ask you, how's it doing? How's it going? What's the sales trend? And you say, favorable. That's the most important piece of information. Now you're going to provide evidence to support your thesis, including numeric evidence and percentage growth rate evidence. Okay. All right. So we have 3 numbers here. You have said it's favorable. All right. Why is it favorable? In numbers, why is it favorable? You can just chime in.
Because there's like a solid, are we speaking out loud or no?
Yes, please. Yeah,
No, there's a solid increase every year.
right. Sales are going up every single year, right? But I want numeric evidence and I want percentage evidence. So what I'm asking you to do is look at these 3 years of data and start your sentence out. And I think I have it here. And let's just build this in. Let's just go ahead and build it. Okay. So the net, this is what I did with the previous class. So let's build it 1 sentence at a time. Tell me who you're talking about. Coldwater Dairy. Tell me what data you're talking about, net income or net revenue. So let's do net revenue. All right, this one's net income. So let's do net revenue, total revenue. So I want that first sentence, and it's going to look almost identical to this sentence, except I'm going to change the words. So I'm telling you, I'm looking at this data from 2011 to 2013. I'm telling you it's revenue. I'm not just saying the trend. You got to tell me what number you're talking about. I'm telling you what the company is. And most importantly, is the trend favorable, unfavorable, or neutral? Okay. Now, as Ella said, the sales are going up every year. That's great news. So now you've got to calculate the net change. So I need you to go in and say, how much did this grow? Well, it was 1,839,000 and now it's 711,704. So I need you to get that net change. Okay. So 100, what's the difference between these two numbers? So let's see. Pull it up here. I'll just use a little calculator here. And so you're going to take where did I go? You're going to take the difference between 100,839 about another O. All right. So you're going to say, hey, sales went up 289,135. Can you guys see that? Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Now, I also want the percent growth. Okay, so now you got to learn a formula. How do you get percent growth rate? Equals, hang on, I got to make sure it goes to everybody. Percent growth rate is equal to this year minus last year divided by last year. And then you multiply the answer by 100 to get the percent. Okay, you guys see that? So we've already done this year, last year, difference. Okay. So we know this number. Now we take this number and divide it by last year to get the growth rate. Okay, so I have a number of 0.406257. And now I take that number and multiply it by 100. And that tells me, and I only want 2 decimals. So how would you round this number? What would this number be if you rounded it? Good, 40.63%. And why is it 63? Because if it's a 5, you round up. Yeah, good. All right. So how do you build that sentence? I think I have it here. If I can make it really big. Cold, so and that's just 1 year. We need 2 years, but let's start with that. Coldwater Dairy experienced significant improvement. You can use the word improvement or favorable. Do not use the word increase or decrease because depending on the number, that may be good or bad. Like in golf, right? You don't want a high score. Coldwater Dairy experienced significant improvement in the 3 years. Sales, total revenue, increased, and here's our percent, 40.63% and tell me what the period was in 2012 compared to 2011. An increase of, and give me those total dollars. And if you want, you can put the total sales in there from 700 whatever to 711 to $1 million. Okay. Now let's do the second year. So we're going to do that second year, which the data is. Now we have different this year, last year difference. Now, last year is $1 million, right? Let's double check my numbers. So now we have 100,839, and the current year is going to be 137,0358. Okay, then we're going to take the difference. And then to get our percent, we're going to divide by the previous year, last year, just like the formula, okay? And then to turn that into a percent, I will multiply it by 100. And please give me 2 decimal places. And I just gave myself 1. Let's give myself another one. Yeah, please give me 2 decimal places. You will lose points if you don't do that, okay? Just to let you know. So here we had 369. I'll answer that in a minute, Ariana. 369. So you can see this growth rate for this growth is higher than it was the previous year. But look, the percent is lower than the previous year. So let's go back to our solution and show that. So here we have our second year, and we say the company continued this improvement in 2013 with total revenue increasing 36.92% or 369,519. Now on the surface, that looks like it's even better the second year, but you can see that the growth rate is lower. So I want you to know, I want you to acknowledge that in your essay. While the growth rates are slightly lower, we're talking about the percent. When we say rates, we mean percent compared to 2012. The company shows a strong performance in these 3 years. So acknowledge if the growth rate is lower. Okay, so here's the example with net income, and then here's showing how we got those net changes for total revenue and net changes for net, here's how we got the growth rates for total revenue, and here's how we got the growth rates for net income. So it's pretty formulaic, almost, you might say boring, but it's short and sweet, and you're taking a position, it's favorable trend, and then you're giving me the evidence to support it, okay? Any questions about the essay? All right.
Is this,
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Ella.
are you sure? Okay. Is this essay like a large part of points on the final exam, would you say, or is it kind of similar to all the other questions?
It's about 10%. So,
Okay.
the question Ariana was asking was, will anything else appear on the actual exam that was not covered in the practice exam? So the way the practice exam works is it's a sample. You should study your homework, which is why I put the practice homework out there. You should take a look at the PowerPoints, the examples in the PowerPoints as well. And if you have time, go back through your book at the demonstration problems. I don't put huge problems on the exam, but I do put little short problems. So the biggest thing that you need to know is you need to know how to do the problems that will probably take you the longest are journal entries, income statement, retained earnings, and classified balance sheet. So just make sure you know how to do those. And the exam is closed book, no notes. And I think that's it. So what else? And should we, no, do not study cash flow statement. That's in accounting 202. No, the only thing you need, well, we have a list of accounts. No. But, it's basic list of accounts, and you have, the monopoly was good for that. And then you also have, if you go back to chapter 3, I think, there's like a list of common accounts. And that's why we do the account ID quiz. That's kind of just drills you on all those accounts. Let's see if I have a list of accounts. I thought I did in here.
Are you looking for ratios on this question that we just did? Like we did on the Monopoly game?
You should know the ratios, yes. Current ratio, net income percent,
Repay, what is that? Retained earnings or something?
It's earnings per share. Yeah.
Earnings per share, so we
Yeah.
should know the
Yeah.
formulas for those.
So I think most of these accounts are what you're going to see. If you come across an expense that's not on this list, just create it on the fly. It's going to be different than Monopoly, where I said you can only use these accounts. So, service revenue, I mean, there may be a different revenue name. It might be called cleaning revenue or consulting revenue, but there's that magic word revenue there. And remember, unearned revenue is a liability, not a revenue account. And then the only other account you need to note, and that's just because it shows up on your homework, is accumulated depreciation. So I would take a look, and I know I've told a bunch of you guys this, but I would go out. Can you see Wiley course records?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so go load the textbook up, go to the table of contents, find chapter 2, and click on classified balance sheet, close the table of contents, and you have a beautiful example of a classified balance sheet. Cash, debt investments, or stock investments, or investments in real estate, accounts receivable, and so forth. Total current assets, long-term investments, property, plant, and equipment, less accumulated depreciation, intangibles, and then all of this, current liabilities, long-term liabilities, total liabilities, and then the stockholders' equity. So make sure you, Kaylin, yes, you are supposed to memorize the formulas. So, all right. So this is a good one to drill on. And I think I had some in the practice exam as well. I can't get the whole statement on one page. I mean, I can, but then you can't hardly see it. So as far as creating a classified balance sheet, you don't have to indent if you don't want to. You can put it all in one column, whichever is easier for you. Okay. You'll notice in my, this is an income statement. It's not a balance sheet, but you'll notice how all the data is in one column so that they can put 3 years side by side. So, all right. Okay, what else? We've got about 10 more minutes. Journal entries. How are you guys doing on journal entries?
I feel pretty good about journal entries. So I was wondering if you could just go over number 8.
Yeah, we can do that. And by the way, I am grading Monopoly. A lot of you had errors in the original time, but now you've corrected them, so that's super helpful. And things to remember with Monopoly are skip a space between journal entries. And I want to be real clear, I will try to remember to put this on the board. For my exams, you do not need to put a description on journal entries, okay? No descriptions are required during exams. For Monopoly, yes, and that's the only big project where you do the descriptions. But for the exams, in the interest of time, we all let students not have to do descriptions, okay? All right, so let's go back to the practice exam, and you wanted to see number 8, which is the algebra problems. And let me just check in with some of my students. Oh, there you are. Okay, golly, I've got 14 students. Okay, I think I have accounting 203 students in here. Let's see. Mona, do you want to have a quick question, or do you want to wait?
I can wait.
Are you sure? Okay, so we'll talk in maybe 9 minutes. Okay. And I don't know who this person is. Who are you? It's in Chinese, but I'm assuming you're accounting 201. Okay, I will just assume that. All right, so let's so these problems are, and we've gone over a couple of these in the review sessions. These problems are designed to test you on your understanding of the accounting equation, and also, do you really understand what goes into retained earnings? So if you think to the retained earnings statement is 4 lines. What are the 4 lines in retained earnings? Go ahead and put that in the chat for me. Sorry, I'm all in caps. Good. Line 1, got that one. Give me all 4 lines in retained earnings. The chat is very quiet. So let's see. Oh, there we go. Aisha. Yeah. Good. Aisha, you're correct. Yelena. Perfect. You guys got it. Okay, so it's beginning balance, plus net income. Let's see if we can just do a new page here. So I want you to think about that. So we have beginning balance, plus or minus net income, minus or less dividends, and then you calculate. Retained earnings is that bridge statement between the income statement and the balance sheet. We need to update the balance in retained earnings because we sweep the balance in revenue and expense into retained earnings through net income. Okay, whoops. Oh, I fixed that. Okay. All right, so we know that now, and that will come into play here. Okay. So the way I've set this up is I've set it up as the expanded accounting equation. So the accounting equation is assets equals liabilities plus stockholders' equity. But I like to take the components of stockholders' equity, common stock and retained earnings. And then we add this piece here, revenue plus revenue minus expenses minus dividends, because that becomes part, it gets rolled into retained earnings through net income and dividends. But for this first one, it's pretty straightforward. I'm saying, what's the total in common stock and retained earnings? It's going to be 300,000. 300 plus 500 equals 800. What's the total assets? It's going to be 350 plus 25 plus 400. And then now we're backing into liabilities. 950 is equal to X plus 800 plus 20. So 950, so liabilities are going to be equal to 130,000. Okay, so now we're starting with a little more level of complication where I'm giving you a beginning balance. Okay. Okay, so, oh, sorry, my computer's being, all right. So now we're saying, oh, great question, Ella. We do not, so go back to question 1, 800 equals 500 plus 300. We don't know how much is common stock and how much is retained earnings. We just know total stockholders' equity is 300. Okay. So at the beginning of the year, Vasquez had total assets, total liabilities of 600. And I say, treat each situation independently. All right, so let's get back to our spreadsheet. So I will take a piece of paper and I will map this out because that's how my brain works better. I like visuals. Okay, so we're gonna say assets. And I will post this video tonight and we're gonna just assume there's an equal sign there. Lives. And a plus sign here. And let's go ahead and put common stock and another plus sign here. and retained earnings. Okay. All right, so they're telling us at the beginning of the year, Vasquez, oh, good, Mona, thank you. At the beginning of the year, Vasquez had total assets of 700. So I like to just go ahead and put this out here, and then I like to say beginning of year. Okay, so this is very similar to what we learned in chapter 3 with the worksheet. So beginning of year. Okay. Just move that off. All right. So beginning of the year, we had assets of 700, liabilities of 600. Now, let's just leave that as stockholders' equity. We don't need to break it out. Okay. How much is in stockholders' equity? Put it in the chat at the beginning of the year. Ariana, yes. Okay, everybody see that? So we didn't know that number, but we can easily calculate it. Okay. And it's important that we do that so that we are always giving ourselves the maximum data. It's 100,000. 700 minus 600,000 is 100. Okay, so now let's go back and look at the facts. And now we are saying during the year. Now, what the deal with this equation is that each row has to balance, okay? And sometimes you don't have enough information to balance it, but the point being that if you do, just make sure it balances. All right, so during the year, so each situation is separate. If total assets increased 150,000, so we'll put that in like that. And total liabilities decreased 80,000. What is the amount of stockholders' equity at the end of the year? So as you're doing these problems, highlight the question so you make sure you answer the right question, okay? So can you guys tell me what this number is? If assets, so, and then we'll calculate the question. So the question was, what is stockholders' equity at the end of the year? This is the answer to the question that we want. But first we need this data. So how are you going to solve for that question? So I like to solve it one row at a time if I have all the data that I need. So if assets went up 150,000, but liabilities went down 80,000, what was the net change during the year to stockholders' equity? So what we're basically saying is minus 80 plus X equals 150,000. How much is X? Go ahead and put it in the chat. I'm looking at 70,000, 70,000, 230,000. Anybody else have a guess? $30,000. So let's just call this X. Whatever this number is, minus 80,000 has to equal 150,000. X, which is this, minus 80 has to equal 150,000. Okay. So the answer is 230,000. Okay. So if liabilities go down, so think of the number line. Liabilities is way over in the negative, 80,000. You have to get back to 0, 80, and then you have to add the 150. Okay. So you have to solve for X. So this is the algebra part of the problem. So we say, we can write it out here. We can say X minus 80,000 equals 150,000. Okay. So solve for X, you bring the 80 to the right side of the equation, so that makes it a plus. It's 150 plus 80,000. Well, Ella, that's a great comment. What we're saying is the net change in liabilities went down. So let's say we started the year owing 600,000, but we paid down our debt 80,000. So that's just the net change. Okay. So end of the year, you would add these numbers up, beginning plus the year activity, you get 850. You'd add these up because it's gone down. So you can see it's gone down from 600 to 520, and you can add these up. But the question is only asking about this. So the answer is 330,000. And finally, I'm going to go on. So, because I promised number 8. Okay, so same set of facts here. Okay, so let's start with the same set of facts. I'm going to put it down here. But the activity has changed. Okay, so assets of 700, liabilities of 600, which means stockholders' equity is 100. During the year, assets increased 25,000. So we're going to put that there. Okay, what else? Liabilities decreased 15,000. Okay, so we'll get those two facts in, minus 15. All right. Now it gets complicated. During the same year, the company's investors invested another 30,000. And the company paid dividends of 15,000. Okay. So what do we do with those pieces of data? Well, when stockholders invest, let's go back to the accounting equation. When stockholders invest, common stock goes up. So that's an increase to stockholders' equity. When we pay dividends, retained earnings goes down. So that's a decrease to stockholders' equity. Okay. So let's take this one at a time. All right. So we know that stockholders' equity went up 30,000. We know, I'll leave that there for now. We know dividends would reduce stockholders' equity. And now we're asking, what was net income? Okay, that's what we're asking. All right. So so this is our X here. Okay. So first, in order to solve for that X, we have to get the ending balance in stockholders' equity. Well, we can't get it by adding up this column of numbers because we don't know what X is. But we can solve for stockholders' equity by saying 725,000 minus 585,000. So let's do that. And the ending balance is 140,000. Okay. So now we can solve for X. So let's make an equation. Now we're going to say 100,000 plus 30,000, oops, minus 15,000 plus X, we don't, equals 140,000. Okay. And just because I'm a little, want to be sure, I'm going to check the solution. Maybe not. Maybe I won't. Ah, there it is. All right. Let's see. So if you know 140,000, is that right? Sure, we'll say it's right. So how do you solve for X? So what is remaining? So if we take 100 plus 30 minus 15, that's 115,000 plus X equals 140,000. So what is X? $115 plus what is 140,000? So X is 25,000. Okay, that is net income. All right. You guys see that? So set up the accounting equation and make sure when they give you that additional data that you know where it goes. Okay. So here we knew we're at number 8. 700, 600, and then you back into net income. All right. Okay, I'm 10 minutes over, so I've got to post this video. Does anybody have any last minute questions? Kaylin, you did great on that one. So, all right. Okay. All right. So I will meet you guys tomorrow. And Vanessa, you sent me an email. Did you send it on Canvas? See you tomorrow. Did you send it on Canvas, Vanessa, or in regular email? Let's see. Okay, so let's go look it up.
Thank you. Goodbye.
All right, goodbye. See you later, Hilla. Goodbye, Dana. All right. Okay, I think it's just us, Vanessa. So, oh no. All right. Well, keep me posted. When you go to the doctor, Vanessa, grab a note from the doctor just so I can support giving you extra time. All right.
Thank you so much. If I'm, I mean, hopefully the plan is I can get crutches and then I can still make it to campus. But I think I mentioned in the email, like worst case scenario, I can't make it. Is there like any other alternative to me making up the exam?
Yeah, we can make it up on Thursday. But just keep me posted if you can make it.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you so much.
All right. You take care, Vanessa. See you later.
Have a nice day.
Bye.